All right, hello everyone. Paws here. A lot of people have been asking for a Sirius guide, so figured I would do what I can. In the interest of not making this video 5 minutes long and not that helpful, or 30 minutes long and nobody wants to watch it, just going to go through a few quick things before we start, and then I'll just kind of talk about what goes through my head as I kill Sirius. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in game, on the forum thread, through Discord. You'll find my Discord info in the description. And yeah, let's get started. So I've been doing carry services for about 2 leagues now. I'd say I've killed between 750 and 1500 Sirius, and I'm pretty self-taught. I learned the way most people do. I rammed my head into him about 15 times, didn't kill him, really struggled with the last phase. And Sirius is kind of like learning to ride a bike in a lot of ways, where once you kill him the first time, things just kind of click for you, and it gets progressively easier and easier as you tighten up how you fight him, right? So, and I also want to note that what you find out online, like on Reddit, other resources, compared to what I say, may not match up exactly. This is just how I think of the Sirius fight. So, first of all, Awakener level really only affects Sirius HP, and Awakener 0, if I'm not mistaken, does not give you access to Sirius specific drops. So I'm all for practicing on a lower Awakener level, but I would recommend that you skip Awakener 0 and practice on Awakener 1 if you're just trying to get some kills under your belt. That being said, like I said, Sirius riding a bike, once you learn the mechanics, I can't really tell the difference between Awakener 0 and Awakener 8, except of course the higher the Awakener level, the longer it takes because he has more HP. Anyway, probably the most controversial piece of advice I'll give in this video is for Sirius and most other boss killings, I take away any defensive or utility flasks that I don't need. So I'm not blitzing through maps, so I don't really need a Quicksilver for Sirius. The map is small, all the dodging of the mechanics is very, tight and doesn't require a lot of movement, a lot of travel distance. So we're going to go ahead and get, in my case, for a Herald of Thunder elemental damage build, a Wise Oak. You'll see that my lightning resistance is highest, so we're going to get some extra lightning penetration. And then I don't, like, there's no curses in the Sirius fight, so I don't really need curse immunity. Dodging and phasing is pretty nice defensively, but once you learn the mechanics, you don't really take very much damage in Sirius except for last phase with the spinning beams, and then you also have to watch out, well, you have to be tanky enough to walk through degen fields for just a short period of time. So I'm running with all offensive flasks, and you also don't need stuff like Headhunter. If you have any kind of boss-specific switches in your gear, go ahead and make that happen. And lastly, Pantheons are quite powerful in Path of Exile. I see a lot of people don't use their Divine Vessels. They, like, all of their Pantheons look like this, where stuff is grayed out. You want those to turn blue after you capture stuff using Divine Vessels. For Sirius, there's only one opponent the entire time, so you're going to want to use Solaris most likely. And then Gruthkul is still quite good, and there's a few good minor Pantheon options. Personally, I think once you get good at Sirius, I would probably recommend this. And then when you're just starting out, I think Rislatha is your best bet, because if you run out of life flasks, you just have to kite him. There's no time gates or anything in the Sirius fight, so it doesn't matter if you kill him in 30 seconds or 30 minutes. Makes no difference at all, right? So if you take that minor Pantheon, you can just, kite during the storm phase, get your life flasks back, and then you are good to go. Just to make sure that my voice can be heard, we're going to turn this down just a bit. I want you to be able to hear the dialogue cues, but if you watch me stream these carries, most of my Sirius are soundless actually, and you get to the point where you prefer listening to music. So I don't mean to humble brag, I just mean to say that the audio cues are very important, but Sirius is extremely telegraphed. So once you learn the mechanics, you're going to know what he's going to do almost before he does, right? And I'll be sure to walk you through that once we get inside. Okay, so one mechanic I want to point out is that whenever you enter a new location, zone, whatever, you have invincibility for varying periods of time. In this room, it's 10 seconds. So if you walk in and you think your fight's bricked with storms right here in front of you, stand still for 10 seconds. Even if the storm is where I'm standing, it does not hurt you, and Sirius moves the storms himself. So I personally have never seen a brick Sirius fight yet. I know a lot of people use that term. I've personally never seen it. I think people don't effectively abuse that invincibility mechanic. Anyway, to get started, I start the fight off the same way every time. We're going to go through down here. We're going to do one dash in case he uses Rain of Stars to get far on this right side, and then we're going to dash underneath him to start the fight. So you'll see this. We use one dash to get on this side. We see what ability he uses. We dash under his chair. If you're like a miner or just any kind of a build that has to preload damage, go ahead and put your damage preload down. He dashes, we dash. The chair did Rain of Stars, and we dash behind him when he uses beam. And don't worry, I will DPS slower, but I wanted to get into the storm phase as I continue rambling on here, right? He has a couple different abilities in storm phase, and they can all be dodged by doing this. Wait for the ability, go back in. He does something, you dash away. You go back in, he does something, you dash away. Next up is Rain of Stars because he cycles. Fury of the Cosmos, and you can actually dodge this in the middle of it, right? I didn't dash left, I didn't dash right, I dodged in between. Everything is extremely telegraphed. Okay, so he does his stuff. We dash under his chair, we start the next phase. Now, when I say phase, this is all phase 1. You can tell it's in phase 1 because he doesn't split, he doesn't do the spinning beam attack, he doesn't do meteors with 3 walls, etc. And really, you see that I'm just kind of like walking around in circles around him, right? We're just walking in circles. We're watching to make sure what the chair does. And there you'll notice how I stepped outside of the circle. If you step outside of the circle, it's going to end your DPS phase, and it's going to put you back into a storm phase. If I'm not mistaken, if you do max damage, you can get 3 storm phases minimum with Sirius. And of course, if you do less damage, then who knows how many storm phases you could get, right? So I'll quickly demonstrate a little bit more storm phase dodging. And really, it's really rinse and repeat. You get close. He says anything, he does any kind of an attack. Rain of Stars, you either dodge when you're in the middle of it, or you dash left to right. You dash away, we use a health pot. We have plenty of health pots, and we have minor Pantheon, so nothing to be worried about. Be careful with that, because the range of it's a little bit longer than it looks. Okay, and then we dash back in. And here I'll demonstrate just a little bit more dodging of Sirius mechanics. The chair is using Rain of Stars, so we get out of the way. I cannot stress enough, Sirius is not a DPS check fight. It doesn't matter if it takes you 3 minutes or 30 minutes. If you can trade living for not doing as much damage, live, you know, live. And really, most of phase 1 can be dodged literally by just walking around in circles. All I'm doing is kiting back and forth. He can't hit you. You have all the time in the world. And you can also tell it's phase 1 because when he does die beam, he cannot turn. When he does that, you dash through him and it ends the meteor mechanic. Now, we didn't do any damage that phase. I don't think we stepped out of the circle. The reason it ended was because we took too long, right? The fight itself isn't time gated, but the DPS phases will end after a certain period of time. And as I mentioned before, we're just getting close to him. We're waiting for him to do anything. Fury of the Cosmos, you can dodge in the middle or go left or right. All the rest of these abilities are pretty short range. We're just doing this over and over again. And the reason it's important to practice this is because this is how and when he moves the storms out of the way, right? This can be really fast. Like here, I could have started the next phase anytime, right? But sometimes he can be on top of storms for a very long period of time, and you have to get good with this, and you have to be patient. I'm not taking any damage, I'm distracted, I'm just walking in circles. Can't stress it enough, you have all the time in the world. Okay, let's move on. Now, this voice line indicates phase 2. Phase 2 means he'll do the 4 beam attack, he'll split into different clones. Oh wait, no, I might have spoke too soon because the chair is still up. Yep, it's still phase 1 because he's not turning. I think we might have did enough damage there to put him into phase 2. Apologies for that misinformation on the voice line. I've heard Sierra's voice line so many times, I just get them mixed up. So here you see how he's a little bit close to that storm. If you're a squishier build, I would be careful about dashing in with angles like that. And you have all the time in the world. Just give him time to move those storms way out of the way. Dash way over here, dodge everything. Okay, he moved the storms for us, we're back in. We preload our damage. We follow him. Another note is if you have trouble finding him after he teleports, Sirius can only teleport in the direction that he's facing. Another quick note, you have so much time on this mechanic. Look at that. You have so much time on Meteor, you don't have to use any travel skills. Take your time, play it safe. Okay, another storm phase. You see how his chair is over the storm? That's why this part of the fight is important. You go in, you dash out. He's pushing that storm away for us, you see? The storm is slowly moving. You go in. Rain of Stars. It's up to you if you want to dash left or right or try to dodge in the middle of it. I got hit. Oops. Life Flask. We have plenty of Life Flask charges. We're still kind of getting squirreled by storms. We have to play it carefully. We're just waiting for him, waiting for him. Okay. He should be open now. Let's check. Yep. And that's our phase 2 voice line. So now he's going to do Spinning Beam, split into 4, and this is where the fight really gets hard, right? So let's see what we can do. Just DPSing him slowly. You can tell it's phase 2 because there's all these, there's a 3-wall meteor. You have plenty of time. Go back out. This one split off first. There's an HP bar over it, etc. So that's how we know where he is. He uses Die Beam, we dash through him. This is where he is because that one split off first. An Illusion, we dash. Oh, sorry, I was incorrect on that one, a bit sloppy. And then we're still just kind of walking around him, but we have to be a bit tighter because he can turn when he does Die Beam now, right? But still kind of the same concept. You have all the time in the world for Meteor. All the time in the world, etc. So I hope this was helpful. I don't want to drag this out for too long. I stand in the middle of them so that Die Beam, we dash. Even if you don't know where he is, if you just time your dash to his voice line, you'll be fine. I think he's over here. So I'll dash over here. He was on that side. That's good. He was facing this way, so I dash this way immediately because I know he's in this direction. Best piece of advice I can give you is to keep him on your screen. So if you see him face a certain direction and then disappear, dash after him. Keep him on your screen, right? You have plenty of time, plenty of time, plenty of time. We dash back in. We keep him on our screen. This one split off first. This is where he is. Use Flash. Deep. Boom. Dead. I hope this was helpful. I know this got a bit more rambly. I might make a version 2 of this and get a little list of talking points down for myself, but I do hope it was helpful. Feel free to ask me any questions, and best of luck in the future, Exile.